Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Damilola. If you see my face for the very first time, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Anyways, let's get into the details of today's video. Oh gosh, before I say this, I want to film this video. Is on my mind, but I'm so scared. My mother must never see this video because she will remind me of all the village people that will be after me afterwards. If you are not African or you don't understand, I'm sorry, forget about it if you don't get it. Anyways, let's get into the details of today's video. The main topic of today is just telling you how I'm able to save at least a minimum of $40,000 from my six-figure salary annually. $40,000 Australian dollars by this I mean. So the first thing you want to do is record your income. And by so doing, you know what your income is, and you are not going overboard with any expenses. So let me just tell you what works for me personally. At the beginning of each year, I have an Excel sheet I've been rolling forward since 2019. Yes, I've been rolling that particular Excel since 2019 till date. So what I do is I put my annual income, and for the best part of the year, I can tell what my salary is. Even I know it will change in between, but I just use whatever my salary is in January. Under normal circumstances, that would be the same thing throughout the year, except if like there's an increase, right? That would be what it is. So I would put in that income on the first tab, either in negative or as a number, and then put my expenses in jackets, whichever way presentation you choose. But anyway, that's just the first thing. Record your income. Know what your income is. For me, my main income is salary I earn from my day job. I also have businesses and investments. And with these other ones, I will tell you what I do with those ones. So I am an impulsive buyer. Yep. So what I do is, so all those other income is what I use to cushion my impulse whenever it comes and I feel like buying what is not in my budget, right? So but if you are, and those ones are not regular, so I don't account for it. That's the truth. What I account for is mainly my salary. So record your income, whichever way it's coming from, where it is coming from, how much is coming, how often it will come, if it's weekly, and ensure you record the income the way it comes, and that will also help you manage your expenses, right? So how often, if it's fortnightly, if it's monthly, or if it's yearly in a very rare situation. So it could be your salary from your wages, your pension, government benefit, or anything whatsoever. Just record your income. That's the first step. The second step would be to add up your expenses, right? Your regular expenses for the things that you need, not wants now. So for your needs, record your expenses and itemize things that you would need. And I think when you itemize everything you would need for each month or weekly, depending on what you choose, but for the purpose of this video, I'll just keep saying monthly. But if you receive your salary fortnightly, please feel free to do that as well. So record your expenses. When you want to start keeping this budget, the first thing for you to do is itemize all the monthly needs you want and then categorize them in the following category. Just these three categories. First is the fixed expenses, and with fixed expenses I would say things like rent, electricity, water bill, telephone, things like that. They are fixed. Whatever happens, and most times I know electricity can fluctuate, but these needs are constant needs on a monthly basis. So from the long list of expenses you have on a monthly basis, take out the ones that are fixed into that column, and then the next one would be your debt expenses. So for instance, you're paying off mortgage, you have a personal loan you've taken and you're repaying, or there's a credit card payment you make on a monthly basis. Categorize those into the debt expenses, while the last one will be one-off expenses. So you just make a provision. So provision is an accounting term. I'm trying to be to speak in a layman language as much as possible. So it's just provision, right? So for whatever unforeseen things that can happen, which likely might happen. So in this instance, I will just use things like car repairs, medical bills. We don't foresee sickness, but they happen, right? So medical bills, extra school costs. One day your kids can come back from school, if you have kids, and then they're like, hey mommy, they told us to pay for this excursion, for this trip, for this anything. Maybe they are going for staycation. Anything can come up with kids, right? So those are the ones you put in the unexpected expenses. And yeah, so that's the next step. The first one, don't forget, you record your income. The one is add up your expenses, and by adding up your expenses, split them into categories. And when you want to start, something I forgot to mention in the expenses part is when you want to start categorizing your expenses, it's good to go through your bank statements for the past month or past few months, just to be able to capture all the type of expenses you've incurred and incorporate them into your budget. So that's just a tip. When you're doing it, make sure it's thorough. Go through your bank statement and ensure you cover all the type of expenses you usually have, to avoid surprises during the month after your budget is done. Next step is set your spending limits. And what you mean by this is whatever is in your spending limits is what is left after expenses. So you have your income, you've taken away expenses, whatever is left is what sits in this category that helps you to set your spending limits. And the balance is, for instance, you earn a $10,000 on a monthly basis, and you take out your expenses. Let's say your expense is 4,000, so you're set with a 6,000 balance, right? 10,000 minus 4,000, that is your expense, and then you have a 6,000. So this 6,000, you have to think of how you want to split it, is what you need to set your spending limit to. So if for me, for instance, what I would do is to have a 4,000 as savings, and then I have a 2,000 as cushion for any unexpected or luxury life I want to live. You know what I mean? So for instance, my friend reached out and like, oh Dami, let's go on a boat ride. I usually want to have something at the back, as in something to cushion all those type of unforeseen expenses. I also want to enjoy let me tell you something, the fact that you're saving does not mean you should live in penury like you don't have, right? I'm not for that type of life. I know people that when they're saving money, they're like, oh, I'm saving, and no. I'm not for that kind of life. Trust me, I still save my 40,000, enjoying my life and doing the things I need to do and I think is necessary, right? So it's just about knowing what to do and when to do it. So set your spending limits. So this is what is savings, and this is what is for enjoyment, having fun or whatnot, right? And then we'll move to the next step. So after you set your spending limit, another thing you'll be doing is set your savings goal. So by savings goal, for instance, is someone like me, I have a goal. Like at the beginning of the year, I've already said, hey Dami, I talked to myself, at this year I want to save $40,000, and to get $40,000, I'm coming, sorry. So to get $40,000, right, in a year, so I'll go by 12 months, and that's about average of $3,333 on a monthly basis. And I would not do that because some months are more expensive for me than the others. So there are months that, for instance, kids are starting school, they maybe need to buy uniform or buy like school fees. Things happen, right, at the beginning of the year. So I won't say I'm going to save $3,300 on a monthly basis. I don't do that. What I look at is look at my month and look at how heavy my expenses are, and just ensure I spread my savings over the month in a way that it won't inconvenience me at all. For a January, I may decide to save $2,000, and then February things are quiet, you know. December is very heavy on expenses. I might even do my budget in a way where I do not save anything in December, because December is Christmas, you're buying Christmas gifts, you need to send money home to your family. There are a lot of things happen in December, but February is quiet, March is quiet, April is quiet. I may decide to save $4,500 those months, and then the months that are quiet, I can just save $2,000. Like on the average, in a very bad month, I'll save $2,000 in a very like expensive month. So make sure you set your savings goal, and don't let anything. I used to tell people, once my salary drops, Some people will say the first thing they do is tithe. Yeah, I know tithe is very important. Don't take it the other way. But for me personally, the first thing I move out of my account once my salary drops is my savings. That's the first thing. Once I see a lot, I move my savings. Nothing, I don't allow anything to alter what my savings is, because I did it at the beginning of the year. Any unforeseen expenses, I already have a backup. I have an emergency funds account where I save it. So with the emergency fund, let me chip that in here. So you know, I've explained setting your spending limit, and like you have money for fun, you have, and then you have your savings. So as part of that as well, after I've taken out my expenses, that balance, I still split it out into two and take a portion for emergency and unforeseen circumstances. You know, we talked about the others, right? The one we mentioned was that, what, like unexpected expenses. So out of that, that unexpected for me serves as emergency funds such as medicals and things like that. So I have that account for all those things. So my savings is my savings, nothing shakes it. You cannot come and say, Damilola, borrow me $10,000. It's my savings, and I'm saving towards a project. And yet another thing about saving money is always save towards something, because by the time you are saving money and you have nothing, like you don't have a goal, right? It's very easy for you to spend that money or do that money anyhow. If you know what, I don't know if it makes sense, but for instance, I'm just saving money and everybody's Damilola, please can you borrow now? I will be borrowing them. But by the time I know that I'm saving this money to either buy a house, I'm saving this money to buy a car, I also want to buy something with it. So it's not easy for you to say, Damilola, give me this money, right? And people also invest. So in this video, I won't be covering anything about investing your money or putting your money in your account. If it's something that you guys want, let me know. I'll record a separate video of how I invest my money. But yeah, so here I'm just talking about how I save on a monthly basis and just put in my account at this, like, let's just assume I just dump the money in my account. Yeah, set a goal, attach something to that goal, right? Yeah, and yeah, another thing I would mention is make sure that, like, for me, I transfer. I don't have a direct, because my savings is not the same across the month. So but I transfer. Some people, they have like direct debit instruction, so you can just set a direct debit, and make sure you have a separate savings account. Your savings account should not be your daily expenses account. I think that's another mistake people make, because it's just your money. You're just have a separate account. My savings account, I do not have an ATM card for it. It's not, so I'm very Nigerian, I'm very African, I'm very, very African, right? I'm scared to even put that money in my account. That I'm like, what if they steal it? What if they hack the account? What if, you know, like all this, what if, just, I don't have ATM for it. I don't have, if I need to get money from that account, I need to go to the bank, right? And I don't think I can't, if I've been to banking hall here, maybe just twice or thrice, right? And so that's the only reason why I need to go to take money from that account, and I know I don't need it now, so why stress? So have a separate account that is a savings account, and then adjust your budget. Different things, you know, I've said, oh, do your budget annually. Things change, circumstances change, a lot of things can happen in between the month. Even personally, I know, yeah, this year I said, oh, I'm going to save my 40,000, just like it was easy to do last year, but this year a lot of things have happened that I've had to tweak my budget. So I still go back and revisit my budget on a monthly basis, based on different circumstances that might change, unforeseen, like even some things are beyond whatever you saved as emergency funds. So always go back, adjust your budget, but be realistic. The purpose of the budget is to be able to know where your money is going to, and to manage, and like just manage your funds appropriately. So it's not meant to be rigid, right? For people who are heavy spenders or that don't know, so I would say be rigid with yourself. But if you know that you have a goal and you're working towards achieving something, adjust your budget. Let it be reflective of your lifestyle. Adjust it on a monthly basis to just reflect your reality, right? I think that's what I just want to say. Adjust your budget, be realistic. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I believe you learned one or two things. For some weird reason, I misplaced the outro of this video, but thank you, and I'll see you in my next video.